Hold on to your headphones. It's time for Spilling the OT with your hosts, Charlie Chatterbox Thompson and Sam the Connector Collins. So, let's dive straight into today's session.
Ever feel like you're always running, always doing something? Work, family, errands, maybe trying to fit in something fun. But it's like even with all that going on, something feels off. Like, is all this really what I should be doing? What I need to be doing?
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. It's not just being busy, right? It's that feeling of being out of whack. Like what you do every day and what you actually need and what really matters, they don't match up. That's occupational imbalance. And honestly, it's becoming a big deal, like a public health concern kind of big deal.
Okay, so right off the bat, in this deep dive, we're tackling that. What is occupational imbalance, really? Where does it even come from?
Right.
And the big one, what can you do about it?
And for this one, we've got a really cool tool to help us figure this out. The Model of Human Occupation, or MOHO, helps us see how your motivation, the stuff you do every day, what you're capable of, and even your environment, how they all work together.
So this deep dive, it's like a two-parter. We're digging into the theory, the why behind occupational imbalance.
Yeah.
But even more importantly, we're giving you the tools to actually do something about it. This isn't just head knowledge. This is about making your life better.
Yeah.
So where do we start? What does occupational imbalance even look like? Where does it begin?
Well, think of it as this. It's when what you spend your time on and what really nourishes you, they don't line up. And MOHO, that model, it helps us understand why. There are three big parts. Volition, that's your drive, what you find meaningful. Habituation, your routines, your roles, how your day usually goes. And then there's performance capacity, what you can do mentally and physically to get things done. When these are out of sync, that's when the imbalance sneaks in.
Okay, big words. Volition, habituation, performance capacity. Break those down a bit for us.
Sure. Volition, it's like what gets you going, what excites you, your passion, habituation, think habits, the stuff you do without even thinking, your autopilot. And performance capacity is your ability to actually do those things, both mentally and physically.
All right, so now, real world, what does this misalignment actually look like?
All right, imagine a teacher, loves making lessons, really creative, engaging stuff. That's their volition, right? But they're stuck with this rigid curriculum, no room for creativity, volitional conflict. They want to teach their way, but can't. Frustrating leads to feeling imbalanced.
So they're being pulled in two different directions.
Yeah.
Makes sense. What about habituation? Our routines, how can they mess things up?
Take a CEO, built their life around work. Every day, work, 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 that's their habituation. But there's nothing left for family, hobbies, anything else. Their routine works for their career, but throws everything else off balance.
So winning in one area, but losing everywhere else. And performance capacity.
Think of a student, exams coming up, crazy schedule. They know they need sleep, they need to hang out with friends, but there's no time. That pressure, it pushes their capacity to the limit. They're running on fumes. That's environment messing with performance capacity, leading to imbalance.
Okay, starting to see how these pieces fit together. Can we zoom in on each part of MOHO, see how they each cause trouble?
Totally. Let's start with volition. That nurse who loves caring for patients, it's their calling. But constantly short-staffed, working overtime, that passion gets crushed. They want to do good but are burnt out. That's occupational imbalance right there.
It's like their passion becomes part of the problem. What about habituation? Any other ways it can lead us astray?
New parents. Their whole world is flipped upside down. Taking care of a baby, the whole new role, changes their whole routine, their habituation. It's tough to fit it in with everything else. Self-care, work, even sleep. Big time imbalance.
Old routines just don't work anymore. All right, last one, performance capacity. More on that.
Imagine a writer, they do freelance stuff, but over time they get carpal tunnel. Typing for hours, which they need to do, becomes really hard. That's a direct hit to their performance capacity, their ability to work. Now they have to figure out new ways to be productive. Another example of occupational imbalance.
Okay, each piece of the puzzle, volition, habituation, performance capacity, they can all go wrong and make us feel out of sync. And this isn't just a small thing. What's the bigger impact on our lives, our well-being?
Well, the impact is huge, affects so many parts of our lives. Mental health, for one. If you're imbalanced for too long, you're more likely to get anxious, depressed, and burnt out. And the World Health Organization, they found working too much, like 55 hours or more a week, increases your risk of a stroke by 35%. That's a lot.
Wow, that's scary. Makes you think.
And it's not just doing too much. Doing too little, that can hurt your mental health too. Unemployed for a long time, Retiring without finding something meaningful to do that can lead to feeling worthless, lonely, and even your thinking can slow down. Remember how we talked about new parents? Sometimes people lose their occupational identity, like who they are is tied to what they do, and that can make things even worse. New moms, they might feel lost as their role changes, and all that caregiving work often isn't appreciated by society.
So too much, too little, or even the wrong kind of activity can really mess with our minds. And what about our bodies? Aside from the stroke risk, what else?
Occupational imbalance can mess up your sleep, your body's natural sleep-wake cycle. And bad sleep, that affects everything. Your immune system, your metabolism, desk jobs where you sit all day, they're linked to obesity and heart problems. Then you got gig workers, crazy hours, they get sleep problems and injuries from the stress and weird schedules.
Seems like our bodies are always sending signals when things are out of balance. But it's not just us, right? What about our relationships? How does this affect those?
That's a big one. Occupational imbalance often leads to time poverty, always feeling rushed, like there's never enough time. And when you're always short on time, your relationships suffer. Parents working all the time might miss important moments with their kids, and that can create distance in the family. Older folks without meaningful roles, they can get super lonely. And the studies show loneliness is actually a big risk factor for, dying. It's as bad as smoking, really. So yeah, occupational imbalance can really strain those connections that are so important for us, for everyone.
So it's not just about us. It's about our whole web of relationships. This is a pretty big deal. So what's causing all this? It can't just be our own choices, can it?
You're right, there are bigger forces at work here. Our society, the way we live now, it often ties your worth to how much you produce, how much money you make. That hustle culture, always busy, always grinding, that's everywhere, especially online. It's like, if you're not busy, you're not valuable.
Yeah, that pressure to always be on, it's exhausting.
And with remote work and the gig economy booming, the line between work and life is blurred. People working from home, they often find it tough to switch off from work even after they're done for the day. Always connected, always available. It's like work never ends.
That feeling of, like, your phone buzzing means you have to answer, even late at night.
Exactly. And then there's the whole gender thing. In so many places, it's still the women who do most of the unpaid work, taking care of kids and family. The OECD, they found women spend way more time on this stuff than men. No wonder they're more likely to be imbalanced.
So it's not just about personal choices, it's about the expectations society puts on us.
And it's interesting how different cultures view this whole work-life thing. Japan, they have karoshi, which means literally dying from overwork. It's a real problem there. Then you have places like Scandinavia, where work-life balance is a big deal. They have shorter work days, government policies to support it. And guess what? They're generally much happier with their lives. It shows how different values and policies can make a huge difference.
It's pretty amazing how different cultures approach this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. What occupational imbalance is, how MOHO helps us understand it, the effects on us and our relationships, and even the bigger societal stuff driving it. Now, the big question. What can we do about it? What are the solutions?
That's where it gets exciting, because you can actually take control. Overcoming occupational imbalance isn't about finding this perfect, unchangeable state of balance. It's about aligning your everyday life with what truly matters to you.
And that's something we all want, right? So where do we even begin?
First things first, figure out where you are right now. We call it diagnosing the disconnect. Occupational therapists use this tool called the Occupational Balance Questionnaire, or OBQ, and it's super helpful. It's basically tracking how you spend your time over a week in different categories: work, leisure, self-care, and rest.
Like a time diary for my week.
Okay.
And then what?
Once you've tracked your time, it's time to reflect. What activities give you energy? Which ones drain you? And think about your values. Are you spending your time in a way that reflects what's important to you? Like, if creativity is important to you, but you're not doing anything creative, that's a sign of imbalance.
So comparing my actual schedule to what I actually care about makes sense. You mentioned an example before.
Right, Maria, the single mom working 2 jobs. Her OBQ showed 90% of her time was work and chores, no time for herself, no time for friends. And she really valued connecting with loved ones. Seeing that mismatch was a wake-up call for her.
Okay, so step 1 is to use something like the OBQ and do some soul searching. What's next?
Step 2, reconnect with your why. Think back to volition from MOHO. It's all about your core values. What gives your life meaning? Is it creativity, community, learning, health, relationships? Figure out what really matters to you.
And how do I bring those values back into my life?
Try journaling for a few days, maybe 3. As you do your daily stuff, label each activity as aligned or misaligned with your values. Then, each day, do something, even just 15-20 minutes, that supports one of your values. It makes a bigger difference than you think.
Little steps, big impact. Do you have an example of someone who did this?
Priya, the climate activist we mentioned, she was burning out from working alone too much. Her OBQ probably showed too much solo work, not enough connecting with others, and collaboration was one of her core values. So she started organizing workshops, doing more group stuff. Not only did it help her cause, but it also aligned with her value of collaboration, brought back her passion and purpose.
Love that. Weaving what matters most back into our lives. So what's the next step in finding balance?
Step 3 is all about redesigning your routines. This connects with habituation in MOHO. Don't be too rigid, be flexible. Life happens, plans change. Try blending different parts of your life. Like if you're a parent who loves art, maybe you sketch with your kids. Combine parent you and artist you.
Cool way to bring things together. What else can we do to redesign our routines?
Time blocking can help. Schedule specific blocks for different activities. Work, leisure, self-care, rest. There are apps for that too. But start small, build sustainable habits. Little changes, what we call micro habits, that you can stick with.
So no need to overhaul everything at once. Small steps. Who's a good example of this?
John, the retired executive, he went from a super busy work life to having no routine, and that wasn't good either. He started with small habits, like a daily walk. Then he became a mentor for young professionals, combining his experience with a new purpose and structure.
Little by little, things start to shift. What's next in our journey to balance?
Step 4. Create a supportive environment. MOHO emphasizes how important your environment is for staying balanced. This means being intentional about your physical space and your digital world.
Okay, what does that actually look like?
Design your space to encourage good habits. Maybe you have a cozy rest corner to relax. Set digital boundaries, like silencing work notifications after a certain time, using website blockers to avoid distractions. And don't be afraid to ask for what you need at work, like flexible hours or adjusted workloads, if that's possible.
So, I'm basically setting myself up for success. Got an example of someone who did this well.
Remember Maria, she was struggling with 2 jobs and childcare, but she spoke up, and one of her employers let her adjust her hours so she could go to her daughter's school events. That change helped her reconnect with her family, which was really important to her.
Taking charge and making things work. Love it. What's step 5 in our journey?
Step 5 is huge, especially in our go, go, go culture. It's about embracing good enough. Trying to be perfect all the time just leads to more stress and feeling like you're not good enough. Aim for harmony, not some impossible ideal.
Yeah, trying to be perfect is exhausting. So how do we embrace good enough?
Pick 1 or 2 big changes that will make the most difference instead of trying to change everything at once. Like maybe regular family dinners are more important than a perfectly clean house. And when you mess up, which you will, be kind to yourself. Don't dwell on it. Just reset and get back on track.
Progress over perfection and giving ourselves a break. Any examples?
Priya, the activist, had to learn to delegate. She had to let go of the idea that things had to be done exactly her way. That helped her reduce her workload and avoid burnout, which ultimately made her work more effective, even if it wasn't always perfect.
Powerful lesson there. Sometimes letting go of perfect makes everything better. Okay, what's step 6?
Step 6. Build your village. Connect with others. Build relationships. MOHO reminds us that we're not meant to do everything alone. Shared activities, social support, they're key for well-being and balance.
How do we go about building that village and making those connections?
Do things with other people, activities that give you a sense of purpose and belonging. Volunteering, joining a club, meeting up with friends who share your interests. And don't forget about informal support networks. Trading childcare with neighbors, online forums for people going through similar stuff. All these connections make you feel less alone and more supported.
We're stronger together, right? Any examples of how community helps with balance?
John, our retired executive. He liked his walks, but joining a gardening group really made a difference. He made friends, had a shared purpose, and felt more connected. It made a big difference in his well-being after retirement.
Connection and shared activities really make a difference. All right, last step. Number 7. What is it?
Step 7. Remember, balance isn't a one-time thing. It's a journey, an ongoing process of adapting and evolving. Your life changes, your needs change, your values might change. Balance needs to be flexible.
So how do we stay on track in the long run?
Schedule regular balance check-ins with yourself. Maybe every 3 months, take time to reflect, celebrate your wins, and figure out what needs tweaking. If things get super stressful, Maybe cut back on some things and prioritize rest and self-care. And be open to new interests, new activities. You never know what might bring you joy and balance.